What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope everyone is healthy and well. Welcome all my new supporters. Today we'll be reacting to a highly requested video. Now, I woke up this morning and I actually seen this video requested in my Gmail. I got a lot of supporters flooding my Gmail, my DMs, my comment section. Thank you very much, because that is the reason why we are able to react every single day. Seriously. Let's jump right into this. Original video link will be down below in the description. Today we'll be reacting to London's air ambulance. Now, this really caught my attention. Yeah, all the people that recommended this, thank you very much, because since when? Since when was there a London air ambulance? Now, I know Australia had one, because they be deep out there in the outback. Then it takes some time to get back to central area. I understand. But the UK? Really? Now, is it a plane? Is it a helicopter? Wait, what did it say? Air? Okay, yeah, it don't really give us too much context if it's a plane or a helicopter, but let's just see, man. Really excited. It's my first time seeing this and learning about this. Seriously, I don't know why. Like, I'm like a big kid right now at the candy store. It just really caught my attention when I seen it. I was like, what? Nah, this is one of them ones. So it made the list for today. It was recommended this morning. One of the ones, yeah.
At 1,000 feet up in the air, looking down upon people commuting on the tube, we had to admit...
I'm about to say, they go to tube. You know what I'm saying? They go to tube. A lot of people was telling me before, it's not tuba, it's tube. T-U-B-E. Quick question, off topic. Is it cheaper to ride the tube every day to work or drive your car? Let me know. Or maybe ride a bus. Let me know.
1,000 feet up in the air, looking down upon people commuting on the tube, we had to admit it's quite a good way to get to work. The helicopter takes 9 minutes to fly in from North Hull Aerodrome in West London, and suddenly, through the foggy windows, we saw this. The roof, 17 floors up, of the Royal London Hospital in Whitechapel, and the helipad. The first thing to do for the team when the helicopter lands is to perform their daily checks to make sure that all the necessary equipment is on board for that day. London's air ambulance is also known as HEMS, that's the Helicopter Emergency Medical Service, and Graham is their lead paramedic.
London's air ambulance is principally an urban-based trauma delivery system that uses a helicopter and during the day and cars during the night to get an advanced trauma team to the most severely injured patients in London. So we cover up 10 million people with one team, and we can get to them within about 15 minutes of the time they've had their accident.
The air ambulance has its own dedicated two-man fire crew who must always be present every time the helicopter takes off or lands from the helipad on top of the building.
Okay.
And on board are two pilots, the trauma doctor and a paramedic team. At their base, there's a storeroom with medical equipment, a kitchen area, operations room, and an all-important meeting room where every day the entire team meet up to have a daily briefing.
Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to Daily Briefing. It's a late briefing at 1400. Pilots.
The briefing is led by the doctor, the key man in the operation. A popular misconception about the air ambulance is that it's there to get a patient quickly back to the hospital, whereas it's actually about getting a doctor out onto the site of the incident as fast as possible.
Oh,
it's very much about...
Wait. So you're telling me you're bringing a doctor out? We all get in this helicopter, the doctor's coming with y'all? So you're not trying to rush me to the doctor. You rushing the doctor to me. Man, you about to fix me up, repair me. You about to help me, literally help me on site? What? Yeah, I've never heard of that before. I don't know if any other country is doing it like that. I know, countries got the air ambulance and stuff. Australia got an airplane. It's like an air ambulance plane, You guys got the helicopter. But this is the first time I'm actually hearing this with this country. 100%. Let me make sure I'm hearing that right, though. Let me see if he get on that helicopter with the rest of them.
There to get a patient quickly back to the hospital, whereas it's actually about getting a doctor out onto the site of the incident as fast as possible.
It's very much about a transport platform to get the team to the patient. Air ambulances historically have been used to cover large distances to get patients from relatively remote locations to the relatively few hospitals that can deal with their care in the world.
On the helicopter every day is one paramedic and one doctor. Tony Joy explained the difference.
So paramedic.
There's one paramedic and one doctor. That is amazing. Yo, why we don't... Is that like for every country or is it just the UK? Because that's the first time I'm actually hearing that specific information right there. Really? Really? You know, I always thought like the paramedics, you know, the people that fly the helicopters, the people that are in the helicopters, they are the ones, you know, working on you, or they're just trying to escort you. Maybe there's like a minimal amount of things they could do for you, but this is different. Straight up paramedics and doctors, like, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that at all.
Is one paramedic and one doctor. Tony Joy explained the difference.
So a paramedic that work for our service are seconded from London's ambulance service, and they have been gaining experience at the roadside or at patients' homes working as paramedics. The doctors that work on the service usually come from a background either in anaesthesia or emergency medicine, and have developed an interest in trauma care. The call is filtered by the emergency operations control paramedic, and if they decide it's something that they need to dispatch the advanced trauma team to, then they send us that job. We have a dispatch application on the iPad, and that job goes through to the pilot. So we might know that we're going to an adult male who's a motorcyclist and is unconscious, or a female who's been stabbed, or, you know, relatively little information, but it's obviously triggered the air ambulance paramedic in control to feel that it's appropriate for the trauma team.
And you know, when you got the doctor, you got doctor and paramedics on the way. They're coming fast on this, well, should I say in this helicopter. They will be there in about 10 to 15 minutes, like they said. It don't matter. They will get there. This is really convenient. You know, I know the traffic laws, or should I say the traffic common sense out there in the UK is very better than what I'm used to in the US. Seriously. People move out the way, so it probably doesn't take the ambulance that much time to get there, but it saves time. It saves a lot of time, you know, definitely air support. But when they get there on the scene, it's the matter of saving your life and treating you right then and there. Not rushing you in the ambulance. Now we got to rush all the way to the hospital. But wait, you really got to be careful a little bit, because we got these crazy drivers around sometimes. Not everybody's perfect. Especially when the ambulance be coming fast. So now you got to yield for the oncoming drivers. That's slowing down the process. You know, you got to watch for the bumps and potholes and stuff, because you got somebody in the back that's injured. You're trying to get them there in a jiffy, but at the same time, if you hit this bump and they got into a crazy car accident and they got smushed up, or they done got, you know, some craziness, they are going to feel everything. You know, it's a lot that you really got to consider, and it slows down the timing. So that is beautiful, that when we get there on the scene, we could treat you, and then we could take our time, taking you to the hospital. Once we save your life on the scene and you're all good and everything and patched up how you need to be, or, you know, fixed up how you need to be, at least to the minimal to save your life, you know, then we could get you to the hospital. Rather than trying to rush there and, you know, we in the back trying to save your life. I really like this. I really do like this. Bring the doctor to them. Stop bringing them to the doctor. Bring the doctor to them. Yo. Is UK the only country doing this for real? Let me hold on. Let me like the video.
The air ambulance paramedic in relatively little information, but it's obviously triggered the air ambulance paramedic in control to feel that it's appropriate for the trauma team.
Tony takes us through some of the equipment on board the helicopter.
We carry a huge amount of kit, which enables us to deliver some fairly advanced medical interventions, including anaesthesia, and our anaesthetic equipment we keep in this bag here. We've got a ventilator attached up here, so if patients are ventilated, we're able to do all the necessary things associated with that. We've got in this small yellow bag our kit which allows us to do open chest surgery. Patients that have been stabbed in the heart.
The most surprising thing...
Open chest surgery in the helicopter? Now, if you're in the middle of a surgery or something... Wait, what? If you're in the middle of surgery in the air, and you land, do you gotta wait? Or is it like, all right, let's move them in, let's go. Pause the surgery? I don't, like, how does that work? How does that work? That is crazy. But you know what? It don't really take that long to stitch up, like, a wound or something. Say you got cut, like he said, a stab wound or something like that. God forbid. you know.
Do open chest
But
surgery.
they could treat it.
Patients that have been, for instance, stabbed in the heart.
The most surprising thing
the
that you may not
heart.
know about the air ambulance, though, is that they rely on charitable donations for their funding.
Yeah, in this country, air ambulances have historically been charitably
How
funded.
can I donate?
Which some people find slightly strange and feel that it should be government funded. I think actually we have a funding model that's sort of a hybrid. We're quite lucky, in fact we're very lucky, that the London Ambulance Service pays for the paramedics, and BARTS and the London Hospital pay for the doctors, and also they contribute further funding to us. And then the remaining of the money, about half of the money, is then raised by charitable methods.
Captain Neil Jeffers is the
See,
chief.
I really do respect stuff like this for real, because this is something new and this is something I'm all in for. You know, I want to make sure that my life is saved on the scene, you know, that whoever I'm with, we could get some help right here. Not, oh, they finally got here, it's about time. Now we got to get to the hospital. Oh, they just landed. There goes the doc. You know, that's so much better. Like, how could I'm serious, guys. How could I, like, you know, I'm not arrogant with my money, guys. You know, I don't want you to think that I just be throwing money. But, like, for good causes like this, you know, I believe we should keep things like this going. And I don't even live in the country, you know, but it is what it is. And I hope my country could do something like this. You know, we don't bring doctors along. This is like a big difference, you know what I'm saying? And it really has a major effect, positive effect. How could I donate towards this? Like, is this just strictly charity? Online, I could donate. Please don't paste no links though in the comments, because I can't click no links. You know how it be, man. These people be out here trying to get you for your information. No, look. I'm not saying it's you. I'm just saying. Yeah. But like, let me know the website name or something, please. And definitely check that out. You know. Make a contribution so we can keep something like that going for real. You know. Real talk. It's been too many times I had to rush my mother to the hospital. I had to drive back in the days. I'm saying back in the days like I'm old. But back in the days when I had the Jetta, talk go crazy. Going crazy. Had to get to the hospital. Goddamn, about 15 minutes, a little bit. I was cutting through each and every lane. People all in my way since I was like, move out the way, man. I'm trying to swoop around them, you know. Move out of the way. You see, it's an emergency. Let me stop. Had to get there, man, and we couldn't. And guess what? I'm over here driving reckless and crazy trying to get her to the hospital twice. You want to know why? Because we can't call ambulance. Oh, bro, like, that's crazy. No ambulance? That's crazy.
BARTS and the London Hospital pay for the doctors, and also they contribute further funding to us. And then the remaining of the money, about half of the money, is then raised by charitable methods.
Captain Neil Jeffers is the chief pilot for the air ambulance and tells us that actually a helicopter is very easy to fly.
There is a common misconception that it's quite hard to fly a helicopter, and don't tell anybody it's not particularly hard to fly a helicopter. There's one control, which is the up and down control. And if I remember, up is up.
Wait a minute. I feel like I could just get in one and fly one.
For the air ambulance, and tells us that actually a helicopter is very easy to fly.
There is a common misconception that it's quite hard to fly a helicopter, and don't tell anybody it's not particularly hard to fly a helicopter. There's one control, which is the up and down control. And if I remember, up is up and down is down. And that's good. We've got two pedals. They're there for steering the helicopter, but they're for steering in that axis. And if I push the left pedal, it goes left. And the final control is the stick. Just like a joystick of any game you've ever played, forward makes the helicopter go forward and back is back, and left couldn't be much easier.
But you have been flying for 18 years?
Well, yes, that's right. Getting them all to work at the same time in the hover takes a few hours, but to each of the controls you can master within a couple of minutes.
So if flying it is easy...
So it's not really that hard to fly a helicopter, is what you're basically saying. You know, I always like assume the same thing for a plane. Like, you got all these buttons for no reason, man. In my head, I'm like, this is in case something go wrong. Ain't nothing going wrong. It's just a lever. It's just a lever and a little thing you push out. You push it in.
A few hours, but to each of the controls you can master within a couple of minutes.
So if flying it is easy, what about landing in London?
It is, and actually it's getting harder. trees are growing, buildings are being built all the time, so our job is certainly getting harder over the years. The aim of the game is that we'll know where the job is, we'll fly to it and get overhead, and then we'll spend probably 2 or 3 minutes overhead, orbiting, going around, flying around in a circle, both of us looking, assessing the best lines of access and the safest route for the doctors and paramedics to get there.
What's the most interesting place that you've landed in London?
We are allowed to land anywhere we like in London, and there has to be a certain size, so about the size of a tennis court squared. There aren't that many places like that in London, but they include places like Piccadilly Circus, Trafalgar Square, Horse Guards Parade, City Hall, bridges, tops of multi-storey car parks.
But the one thing they can't control, which does affect the helicopter, is of course the weather.
I think if the cloud base got onto the Gherkin, on top of the Gherkin there, that's the sort of time we'd start thinking about not being able to fly. And the visibility needs to be a little bit worse than this before we stop flying.
Back down below the helipad, we find the doctor and the paramedic crew.
Wait. So what if it gets even more foggy? Then that means they can't take off and get to you. Then an ambulance would have to come, right? Basically. Like, what if you call air support? Could they be like, it's foggy, or, we can't right now. We can't really see. So it was like, we can't come. What? Or do like the ambulance come at the same time? And does like the helicopter only show up on like a special call, like if it's needed? Or do they pop up every time? That's crazy if they come every time, though.
Worse than this before we stop flying.
Back down below the helipad, we find the doctor and the paramedic crew rehearsing scenarios. They don't just sit around drinking tea, waiting for the next call to come in.
Good.
The whole operation is efficient and organised, and best of all, you can tell, run by people who are completely passionate about what they do. In fact, the only thing that is missing is a second helicopter.
Helicopters are, like all vehicles, requiring maintenance, requiring additional, checks. And certainly when you're flying a helicopter around London, you want to make sure it's absolutely as safe as you can possibly be.
Oh, yeah.
Because of that, there has a lot of maintenance for it, and that means that often there is downtime. That means we haven't got a helicopter available. We use cars when the aircraft can't fly, and that's
okay.
great. So for us, if we can be more robust and have more resilience by having a second aircraft that we could immediately use if our first one was offline, that will mean that we get to more patients more quickly.
I wasn't thinking about that. If it's under maintenance or something, and they can't fly that aircraft right there, it is best to have a second one. That's a scenario I didn't think about.
That we could immediately use if our first one was offline, that will mean that we get to more patients more quickly, and that's a hugely important thing for us.
The air ambulance only operates during daylight hours, so on the day we went, with light fading just after 4 o'clock, it was time for the helicopter to fly back to Northolt for the night. But it will be back again tomorrow to add to its 30,000 missions it's flown on since its creation in 1989. And will never be able to exit Whitechapel Tube Station again without looking up and seeing the helipad on top of the roof of the hospital.
This was a great video, guys. Original video link will be down below in the description. Let me know if you actually have seen this helicopter flying around in the UK. Do you know anybody who actually flies this helicopter or works on it? Or is actually a doctor? Please let me know if you've ever had to experience being on it. Now, it obviously wasn't for a good cause, so I'm not going to sit here and ask, was it bad? How bad was it? It obviously wasn't for a good cause. So I'm just going to leave it there and just share your experiences. I'm not looking for a full story or I'm not trying to, I don't need to know all your personal business, but just let me know, yes or no. I've been on it before, Strac, or no. Just curious. How many people have actually had the chance to sit in a helicopter? I don't think I've ever. Have I? I don't think I've ever sat in a helicopter. I'm talking about a stationary one. I don't think I've ever even did something like that, And that's something cool, And it's so simple flying one. I feel like I'll be able to just take off. Somebody better be in that helicopter with me, because I might get to push a button Please share your honest thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications on, follow my Twitch, and subscribe to all my other YouTube channels pertaining to all the other fabulous countries out there in this beautiful world abroad. Stay safe. I love you all, and I hope to catch you all in the next reaction video.